Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. Thank you for clicking on this video. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like all those things because it really helps us out. And you know you want to because we're bringing the best quality cricket content that you'll ever see. Today, there have been a couple of games that have gone on. New Zealand versus India and England versus South Africa. And we're going to start by talking about the India-New Zealand match, in which it ended up being quite a tense finish in the end.
It did. It did. Considering that India, restricted New Zealand to a meager 99 runs, you thought it would be a walk in the park, but it went down to, being like a final over thriller, which, no one really expected in the end. Suryakumar Yadav sort of guided his team over the line. It looked like it must have been quite a tough pitch to bat on in the end because, everyone seemed to struggle. I think Mitch Santner captained very well, particularly with his bowlers, to make it that difficult for India. Interesting, the team selection for India. No Rohit Sharma, no Virat Kohli, so some sort of notable people rested. So, it wasn't exactly a top strength Indian team facing up against New Zealand here, but
yeah, we discussed that. We discussed that last time as well. The fact that they've got quite a young 11, which is quite interesting because it's kind of they're relying on Suryakumar Yadav and Hardik Pandya to provide that sort of experience. But I think in the end, their bowlers were very good, and the conditions were bowling friendly conditions. It was hard for the batters to time anything really, and they just picked up regular wickets. And people like Washington Sundar, who bowled very well in the last game, he was then ably supported by he only had one pacer in Hardik Pandya, and then they just bowled spin until Arshdeep Singh came on. Yeah. So they didn't really have much pace going. It was very much a spinner friendly, see how many runs you can get. And I think one thing we saw is New Zealand tried to force it early on, but it wasn't the sort of pitch you had to force it. You kind of had to take your time and build an innings.
Yeah, there was one over in there by Shivam Mavi, but aside from that, nothing really, anything else. Good to see, Hardik in a true captain fashion, opening the bowling with himself again, which is something that we've got used to seeing with Hardik. Yeah. Enjoyed giving himself that new ball, doesn't he? But he bowled very well for it. So, it was good. But there's not really much more to say about that game, is there? There wasn't really any outstanding contributions because wickets seemed to be shed all over the place. And it was really Suryakumar Yadav with his 26 balls, his 26 runs, that really guided India to the win.
Yeah, it was a different sort of innings from him, wasn't it? We're used to him seeing, if Suryakumar Yadav's got 26 runs, it's normally off 10 to 15 deliveries, not 31 deliveries. But I think it's good for India to see him play that sort of innings, to know that he's got that sort of innings, because he's going to be playing some test cricket. He's been playing a lot of one-day cricket as well, not just 2020s. So I think that's encouraging signs for India that he's not just an out-and-out, I can smack it all over the place. He has that other ability to play the sort of measured innings that India kind of need from him. But I think despite this, New Zealand did very well to take it to the end. Glenn Phillips himself, the wicketkeeper batsman, getting 4 overs. I thought that was brilliant. India, at the end of the day, India had the better of the conditions. If you win the toss with that sort of pitch, those sorts of conditions, you got to bowl first because you make the most of the conditions, don't you? It's not just a case of bowling first. It was an actual tactical decision to bowl first in this game, and it ended up being the win for India.
A very interesting.
Go for it.
I'd say very interesting series. Now it brings it to 1-1, so it's now level in that series. So it will be a decider in the upcoming week. A series that has now been decided: England versus South Africa. South Africa have taken a lead in the series and now 2-0 up. So fingers crossed England can at least win one for a little bit of pride. But what we thought was going to be a tense finish ended up seeming quite easy in the end, with David Miller and Marco Janssen guiding South Africa over the line to chase down what looked like a pretty good total of 342. So it was an interesting ODI stay. I think England struggled at the start to get themselves going, especially Ben Duckett and David Milan. There were sort of a lot of play and misses from them. And also Jason Roy. All of the top three sort of struggled initially, and it was only the huge partnership from Harry Brook and Josh Butler that really got England back into the game. I mean, Harry Brook today, I don't know what you thought about him, but I thought he was phenomenal. Like, for me, Harry Brook is one of the most exciting prospects that England have in the batting department since Kevin Peterson, sort of across all formats. That player who can just, no matter where he is, no matter what surface he's batting on, he'll get you a score. And to see that in his second ODI, I think he's got a great England career ahead of him.
Yeah, we've seen him just burst onto the scene and do well. We saw it in the 2020s in Pakistan before the World Cup. We saw it a couple of times during the World Cup. We're seeing it now in the one days and in the test matches. We saw it when they played in Pakistan. So yeah, he's a very exciting player, can play all sorts of innings, as you've said. And really, I think him playing those sorts of innings in these sorts of situations where England were under a little bit of pressure at 82 for 3, I think that's what we want from him. He seems to bring the momentum back in England's favour, and that's definitely what you want. And yeah, it was a shame really, because obviously Butler also played a fabulous innings, getting 94. He looked awesome, but we know that Butler can reduce that. I think England are just missing something from the top of the order. You'd always want Joe Root coming in at number 3, maybe have Johnny Bairstow at the top of the order. So, and those two, if they came in, you'd be looking at that team thinking, right, England scored 340 today due to Josh Butler playing an awesome inning surrounded by Harry Brook and Moeen Ali. Whereas you throw in Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow, you think maybe England could have pushed 350, 360 and post a unassailable target in a lot of ways. I totally but we agree. Can't take anything away from South Africa's bowlers, who at the start of the inning bowled very well.
Yeah, they did. And it was only really at the end when they started getting that little bit of tap. England scored 60 runs off the last 4 overs. It was like ridiculous hitting from both Josh Butler and Sam Curran. Sam Curran took up a lot of deliveries. Sam Curran took up a lot of deliveries, playing and missing. But then I think he then hit about 3 sixes. Like, he scored 28 runs. 18 of them were sixes, and there was 1 4 in there. So he only scored, I think he only scored like 6 runs out of his 17 deliveries that weren't boundaries. So he did soak up quite a few dots, but then did produce that knock at the end.
That we need it though. Cameo. We need it because Sam Curran is the useful down the order, isn't he? So we need him firing, and
that's for sure. For sure, and that's his role, and to come in and support the in batsman and just take a bit of that pressure off was really good. I think, as you say, definitely missing something at the top of the order. If you had sort of like a Bairstow in over Milan, and then Root plays that Milan role at number 3, I think that really just bolsters that top order, as you've said. And I think Roy, Bairstow, Root, Brook, Butler would probably be our best top 5. If I had to name one, and then having Chris Woakes and Sam Curran, who are both certified number 7s, coming in there as well at 7 and 8, I think that's really good. What England need to work on a bit, I think, is their bowling at the start of the innings and their bowling at the end of the innings. I think their middle overs are really good, and they've got that nailed on down. For me today, Ollie Stone, Moeen and Adil Rashid bowled really well. Moeen was a little bit expensive, but I think he was just getting a bit of tap from a very in Bavuma. But Rashid was again really good, picked up 2 really useful wickets. Sam Curran did all right at the death as well, and also took up that really important wicket of Temba Bavuma. But Chris Woakes and Reece Topley were not, bowling as we'd expect them to see. Woakes in the past has been one of the best white ball bowlers in the world, and he just looked a bit expensive today. And I'm not sure if that's because he's just come off a plane from the UAE.
Maybe He's been doing well in the UAE. Like, he's not been doing badly, but today he was just bowling length. There was nothing, and when he was bowling short, it wasn't short enough. And no, I don't know, it just looked like Chris Woakes and Reece Hopley were just going through the motions of it. They didn't look dangerous. When you think of England's world-beating one-day side of 2019, you had Chris Woakes bowling economically at the start of the innings, not giving much away. So for him to go at 9, well, almost 10 and over, that was the difference really between England winning or losing. All England needed were a couple wickets in the first 10 overs, or just keeping it down to maybe 5-6 runs and over. And you've got, and then South Africa are immediately under pressure. They're always playing from behind, whereas South Africa were never behind. They were always up with the run rate. They were always scoring freely, to the point where when England did bring it back, because Ollie Stone, I thought, bowled outstandingly, the best bowler in the game by far. He bowled very well, but it was too late. South Africa were there. They only needed 6 and over. So
I think as well, you've got Woakes, who's just come back from an injury, Topley, who's been in and out. You've got Archer, it's his second, it was his first international game in 18 months in the first ODI.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more on that road to recovery. And actually, by November, can this team have developed and got back to where they need to be? They've got some, I think they've got some ODIs against Bangladesh maybe later on in the year, and they've got they've got plenty of practice and plenty of ODIs to come. And I think hopefully by then we can see them, getting back into their stride, like a fully fit Archer. Also, Mark Wood's not in this squad, so there are some people who you'd expect to be in there, some real match-winning difference makers, who aren't just quite at the top of their game or aren't playing. So I think it's not time to panic yet, but it's definitely one to look out for and watch closely to see if we get there. Zach, I would like to hear your opinion just before we wrap this podcast up on Temba Bavuma's knock, because I think right from ball one, it was him and Quinton de Kock came out and just played fantastically in that opening partnership. But what did you think of Temba Bavuma's 100? It was a meaningful one today, I thought.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was one of the best knocks I've ever seen Temba Bavuma play. When Temba Bavuma bats, you never think he's going to score many centuries. Well, you don't think he's going to score a century because he doesn't really. And so, whereas today he looked so assured, you were like, yeah, he was going to get there. And it took a bit of weirdness where he tried to scoop it and ended up scooping it onto his own stumps in a very un-Temba Bavuma-like way. But the rest of the innings, he plays very well off the back foot. I think that comes with his stature. He's quite a short man, so he's good he's good cutting, pulling square of the wicket, and he's good against spin, and that's such a massive thing. And South Africa's batsmen in the past have struggled against spin, whereas Temba Bavuma is very good at it. And so him at the top of the order, scoring 109, silencing a few of his critics was very important for him. And you could see it when he scored the 100, the passion which he had. It was, like you said, meaningful. And he's been ably supported. You look at that one-day team.
Yeah.
And we had the comment about how this should be South Africa's team in all formats, probably. And it's a team full of a lot of very good players like Rassie van der Dusen, Quinton de Kock, Aiden Markram, Heinrich Klaassen, David Miller, Marco Jansen, who's turning out to be a brilliant lower all-rounder. And then you look at the players to come in De Volt Brevis, Tristan Stubbs. They've got a really exciting team that's kind of struggled in the last few years, probably due to just being in a transition period. They've lost a lot of their big names. They've lost players like Abu de Villiers, Faf du Plessis, Quinton de Kock's retired from Test, and they are transitioning at the moment. And one thing that's good is that South Africa are playing well now. And although it's sad to see England lose, it's encouraging that South Africa have this side that can compete with the best sides in the world. So encouraging signs for them, definitely.
It is. And it'll definitely be sad if South Africa don't qualify for this World Cup. I think they've got to win the next ODI plus a number of others to get into it as well. But I think that's to automatically qualify. I think
they'll qualify anyway.
They'd have to qualify but go through some extra hoops and beat Ireland and Namibia maybe, and Zimbabwe. So we'll see them there. more than likely. But yeah, it would just be a shame that this side now, who are coming together and pulling together, if they don't make it. And I think with South Africa, they've almost hurt themselves with the internal politics over the last few years, and that's been the real downfall for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you look at this and they've got that side, and as you say, Zach, all of the rest of the team batted around Bavuma. They went on from that platform, and Van der Dussen with a 38, Aidan Markram was one away from a 50, David Miller with a 58. Like, everyone chipped in. Heinrich Klaassen scored a number of runs. He was going at a real good nick as well. He didn't have the best day behind the stumps, but I think he just about made up for it with the
34 extras, I think there were.
Well, I know that's the other thing. Like, there was a lot of wides. I think there were at least 15 of those wides were 5 wides when it had bounced over the leg side and gone for 4. Yeah. And then also the penalty runs from Klaassen, just absolute foolishry, just dropping his glove on the floor. So yeah, I think he made up for the lackluster keeping behind the stumps. Yeah. But anyway,
yeah,
that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. We will be coming to you with a lot more content very, very, very soon. We'll be going over the last T20 with India. We'll be going over the last ODI for England, and then it's almost time for test match time and IPL again. So we look forward to that. There's lots coming. There's lots in the works. We'll get some Cricket Nerds questions answered in the next episode, so make sure that you're leaving them for us, and we'll go through and give some answers to you for that. And yeah, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe, listen to us on your favourite podcasting platform. All the links are in the link tree in the description. And other than that, have a good life, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.